Picture this. It is day 1. I have a spreadsheet open on my laptop, a meal prep container in the fridge, a brand new budget app downloaded on my phone, a list of rules printed out and taped to my wall. No eating out, no impulse purchases, no subscriptions I don't absolutely need. Every dollar tracked, every receipt saved, every financial decision deliberate, calculated, and optimized. I was going to become the perfect saver. You've seen this person. Maybe you've tried to be this person. The one who meal preps every Sunday without fail, who brings lunch to work in a Tupperware container while everyone else orders delivery, who says no to every spontaneous dinner, every last-minute concert ticket, every coffee that isn't brewed at home, who tracks every single dollar with the discipline of a forensic accountant and the lifestyle of a monk.
Financial influencers worship this person. Personal finance books are written for this person. Every budgeting app, every savings challenge, every How I Saved $50,000 in 2 years YouTube video is built around the idea that if you could just become this person, all your financial problems would be solved. So I decided to find out if that was actually true. My name is Zane, and I spend way too much time thinking about the invisible systems that govern our financial lives. The rules we follow, the traps we walk into, and the math that either sets us free or keeps us exactly where we are. If you're someone who has tried every budgeting system, every savings challenge, every financial discipline hack, and still feels like you're not making the progress you should be, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because today, I am going to tell you exactly what happened when I tried to live like the perfect saver for 90 days. And I have to warn you, some of what I found is going to make you feel a lot better about yourself, and some of it is going to completely change how you think about saving money.
Let me set the rules first, because this matters. For 90 days, I committed to the following. 1. No eating out whatsoever. Every meal cooked at home. 2. No impulse purchases. Every non-essential purchase had to wait 48 hours before I could buy it. 3. No new subscriptions, and cancel any existing ones I hadn't used in the last 30 days. 4. Track every single dollar spent, every single day, no exceptions. 5. Grocery budget capped at $200 per month. 6. No social spending, no rounds of drinks, no splitting bills at restaurants, no birthday dinners I hadn't budgeted for in advance. These are not extreme rules. These are the exact rules that personal finance influencers, best-selling books, and viral budgeting videos tell you to follow if you want to build wealth. I didn't invent them. I just decided to actually do them, all of them, strictly, for 90 days. Here is what happened. The first 2 weeks were genuinely great, and this is the part that personal finance content always gets right. The early momentum is real. I meal prepped on Sunday and felt incredible about it. I tracked my spending every evening and felt in control. I canceled 4 subscriptions I had completely forgotten about. $67 a month I was just bleeding for nothing. I said no to a dinner invitation and stayed home and cooked pasta and watched a movie, and genuinely didn't feel like I was missing anything. The numbers at the end of week 2 were legitimately impressive. I had saved more in 14 days than I typically saved in an entire month. The system was working. I felt like I had cracked the code. I remember thinking, why didn't I do this sooner? And then week 3 happened. A colleague had a birthday. A group of about 12 people were going to a restaurant downtown. Not a fancy restaurant, just a normal casual place. The kind of dinner where the bill comes out to maybe $35 per person with drinks and tip. I said no. I had a rule. No social spending that wasn't pre-budgeted. So I stayed home. I ate my meal-prepped chicken and rice alone in my apartment, while my phone lit up with photos from the dinner. I told myself it was fine. I was being disciplined. I was building wealth. I was winning. But something had shifted, and I couldn't quite name it yet. By week 4, I started noticing something uncomfortable. The 48-hour rule on impulse purchases, which had started as a powerful filter, had quietly become something else. I wasn't just filtering out bad purchases. I was filtering out all purchases. I needed new running shoes. My old ones had worn through and I was getting knee pain. I waited 48 hours, then 72, then a week. I kept telling myself it wasn't urgent enough. Meanwhile, I was running on damaged shoes and compounding a physical problem to protect a financial rule.
The grocery budget was creating its own pressure. $200 a month sounds reasonable on paper,
And it is reasonable if you eat the same 7 meals on rotation, never invite anyone over, and treat food as pure fuel with no enjoyment component whatsoever. I was eating fine, but I was eating without any pleasure. Every grocery run was a mathematical exercise. Every meal was a calculation. Food had gone from one of the simple daily joys of being alive to another optimization problem to solve. And the daily tracking of every single dollar. What had started as empowering had become exhausting. I was spending 20 to 30 minutes every evening reconciling receipts, categorizing expenses, updating my spreadsheet. The mental overhead was significant. I started to feel like I was managing my money more than I was living my life. Here is the number that stopped me cold at the end of month 2. I calculated the total hours I had spent on money management activities in 60 days. Meal prepping, grocery planning, receipt tracking, budget reconciliation, researching cheaper alternatives to things I needed, calculating whether purchases were justified. Total time, 47 hours. 47 hours in 60 days dedicated purely to the administration of saving money. That is almost a full extra work week every month. And when I calculated what my time was worth at my actual hourly rate, the math got uncomfortable very quickly. The optimization was costing me more in time than it was saving me in dollars in several categories. But here is what the numbers couldn't capture. And this is the part of this conversation that personal finance content almost never addresses: the social cost. I had said no to 6 social events in 60 days, a birthday dinner, 2 casual after-work drinks invitations, a friend's housewarming, a Saturday afternoon at a sporting event, a last-minute road trip that 4 of my closest friends took and talked about for weeks afterward. I saved approximately $280 by skipping those 6 events. $280. In exchange, I had missed 6 moments with people I care about. I had become the person in the friend group who always says no, the one who has an excuse, the one who is really focused on saving right now. And I noticed quietly and uncomfortably that the invitations started coming slightly less frequently. Not dramatically, just slightly, the way they do when a group starts to learn that someone usually declines. I also noticed something happening to my mental relationship with money. The perfect saver system had created a binary in my brain. Every financial decision was either disciplined or undisciplined. Every purchase was either justified or guilty. There was no middle ground. There was no such thing as spending money and feeling good about it. Every dollar that left my account felt like a small failure, even when it was completely reasonable. By day 75, I was stressed about money more than I had ever been in my life, and I was spending less than I had ever spent in my adult life. Those two things are not supposed to coexist, but they did, because the perfect saver system, followed rigidly and completely, had turned money from a tool into an obsession. And an obsession is exhausting, regardless of the direction it runs. So what did I actually learn from 90 days of living like the perfect saver? Here is the truth, and I want to be precise about this because I think the nuance matters enormously. The perfect saver system works mathematically. The numbers at the end of 90 days were objectively good. I saved significantly more than my previous average. I eliminated wasteful subscriptions. I reduced grocery spending. I stopped impulse buying. On a spreadsheet, the experiment was a success. But a spreadsheet is not a life. The system failed in 3 specific ways that the math will never show you. First, it optimized for dollars and ignored time. The 47 hours of financial administration was a cost the system never accounted for. Real wealth building is not just about how much money you save. It is about the ratio of money saved to life spent saving it. If you are spending 20 hours a month to save an extra $150, you are not winning. You are just trading one form of scarcity for another.
Second, it treated all spending as equal. The $35 birthday dinner and the $35 impulse online purchase are not the same thing. One builds a relationship. One builds nothing. The perfect saver system made no distinction. A dollar spent was a dollar lost, regardless of what it purchased: a memory, a connection, an experience, or a piece of plastic you didn't need. That is not wisdom. That is arithmetic pretending to be wisdom. Third, it created financial anxiety instead of financial freedom, and this is the most important one. The entire point of saving money is to create freedom, security, options, peace of mind. But the perfect saver system, followed rigidly, created the opposite of peace of mind. It created a constant low-level financial stress that was frankly worse than the mild financial stress of someone who spends a little too freely. At least that person is enjoying their life between the stress moments.
So what is the alternative? It is not the opposite of the perfect saver system. I am not telling you to spend freely and track nothing and eat out every night and say yes to every social invitation regardless of your budget. That is not the answer either. The answer is a system that I started building in the final 2 weeks of the 90 days, when I started relaxing the rigid rules and replacing them with intentional ones. Instead of no eating out whatsoever, I identified the 3 restaurants and social contexts that genuinely brought me joy and budgeted for those specifically. Everything else stayed home-cooked. Instead of 48 hours on every non-essential purchase, I set a dollar threshold. Under $30, buy it if it serves a genuine need. Over $30, wait 48 hours. Over $100, wait a week. The rules scale to the actual stakes of the decision. Instead of tracking every single dollar every single day, I did a weekly 10-minute review. Total in, total out. 3 categories only. The overview gave me the control without the administrative burden. Instead of a rigid $200 grocery budget, I set a $250 target with a $50 flex buffer for the weeks when I was cooking for others, trying something new, or simply wanted to eat something that wasn't meal prep chicken. And instead of no social spending, I built a specific monthly social budget, $150 a month, dedicated entirely to showing up for the people in my life. Not guilty spending, not undisciplined spending, budgeted, intentional, joyful spending. The results in the final 2 weeks of the experiment were not as mathematically impressive as the first 2 months. I saved slightly less in dollar terms. But here's the thing. I was building a system I could actually maintain for years. And a slightly less aggressive system maintained for a decade builds infinitely more wealth than a perfect system abandoned after 90 days. Here's the final thought I want to leave you with, because I think it reframes this entire conversation. Saving money is not the goal. Saving money is the vehicle. The goal is a life that has enough financial security that money stops being the thing you think about all the time. The perfect saver, followed rigidly, makes money the thing you think about all the time. It just shifts the anxiety from "I'm spending too much" to "I'm not saving enough." The obsession remains, only its direction changes. The people who actually build lasting wealth are not the ones who followed the strictest system for the shortest sprint. They are the ones who found a system sustainable enough to run quietly in the background of a full life, and then ran it for decades. 90 days taught me that, and now I'm building for decades. If this video made you think differently about how you save, smash that like button and subscribe, because we are going to keep doing this, pulling back the curtain on the financial rules we follow without ever questioning whether they actually work. I'll see you in the next one.